With Russ Evans, this is Shannon Nordstrom, thanking you for tuning in to the Nordstrom's Under the Hood Show. Have a great day, and remember, DTLA.
The opinions heard on this program, based on the many years of experience of Russ and Shannon, are offered for entertainment value only and as a guide to your repair needs. No claim to repair or cause is given or implied. Always consult with your own certified technician and follow all safety procedures before attempting any repair. To be a part of the show, call 866-594-4150. Under the Hood is produced by Prairie House Productions. All content is the property of Nordstrom's Automotive Incorporated and may not be used without our permission. Copyright Nordstrom's Automotive, Inc. Now, let's go under the hood with the Nordstrom's Motor Medics.
Welcome to the Under the Hood Show from the Autotempest.com studios. All the cars, one search. This is the Under the Hood Show. Russ Evans is here to answer your automotive questions.
Thanks for joining us under the hood.
Shannon Nordstrom is here to do the same.
Welcome, Hoodies. Thanks for tuning in so we can help you tune up.
I'm Chris Carter here to answer your calls at 866-594-4150. 866-594-4150. We've got Jared on hold. He's been waiting as we started the show from Nevada. Jared, what can we do for you? You're on the Under the Hood Show.
Good morning. You guys got a great show, and I appreciate you.
Thanks very much.
I have a 1999 Isuzu Amigo that my daughter drives, and when we start it up, it's got this weird howling noise that comes from the intake. I haven't been able to figure out what it is.
Can you make the noise?
It is this god awful like I guess, and it's super loud. And after about 10 to 15 seconds, it just kind of slowly subsides, and then the thing just sounds normal.
At first, I was thinking maybe Chewbacca, but after you made that noise, it's more like a TIE fighter. Yeah. People watch Disney Plus; they know that sound now.
I think so.
I heard a little slee stack myself.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my goodness,
that is so whatever thing, because we were just talking about Land of the Lost over the 4th of July weekend and how cheesy now those slee stacks that were so cool and scary when we were 5 years old.
They were scary, yeah, heck yeah.
Yeah, when they were 5 years, and in the end, they turned out to be the good guys.
Of course.
Yeah. Anyways, that sound, Ford describes it as a moosing sound. They're the only company I know of that actually put a name to it other than a howling noise. And it can be caused by a lot of things. It can be caused by problems in the engine, but if it's running very well, it can also be caused by things like not a factory air filter in the car. Different brands of air filters can cause that just by resonance in the airflow. Things just vibrate a little bit, and it changes usually once the car warms up. When it's really cold, if it does it, then it may not be affecting anything, may not be hurting anything at all. Just
what
may be
would
noisy.
really cold be in Nevada?
Well, cold like a cold startup, under 70 degrees.
Because when you say cold, I think it's something different.
Oh.
Right.
Yeah, not super cold outside.
What? No,
here's the thing. I pulled the air filter out, and it makes the noise. It's coming out of the intake tube. So I pulled all that stuff off, and I looked up inside past the mass airflow sensor, and inside the intake, there's a little tube that looks like it comes from the back side of the engine inside that forward. It's about a half-inch in diameter. I didn't know if maybe it could, like some sort of back pressure thing or something.
That should be the EGR tube coming in there. One thing you could try would be intake system cleaner, try to get the carbon out of there and see if it changes. If that EGR valve is hanging open a little bit when it's first starting, that could be causing a problem too. And the only way to really test that would be to block off that tube temporarily and see if the noise goes away. Because an EGR valve hanging open a little bit could be fluttering on the pintle and causing that vibration, making a sound.
Mm-hmm. And I pulled off that EGR and I did a cleaning on that, which it didn't need, but I cleaned it anyway. That didn't seem to help. It still made the noise.
Try blocking it off just temporarily. You won't be able to do it for real long, but if you unbolt the EGR and put a piece of tin across there or something and bolt it back on, something solid that won't get sucked into the intake, just put it in there just for a second, start it up cold and see if the noise is gone. That would be an indication of whether or not you had a valve problem going on too.
Another thing that vehicle could have is a failing fan clutch, or because that still had a a clutch fan on it. I think that was not an electric fan.
Coming
in
out
that.
of the intake, though.
Yeah, you never know,
Well,
though. That noise can really travel weird.
Yeah.
Just maybe consider that. Just something to think about. How long have you owned this
I'll
Amigo?
check. About 3.5 years.
Where did you find an Amigo? I
Amigo.
can't say that I see a lot of them anymore.
Those are cool.
I know, that's why I bought it. I actually found it. The guy bought it from Washington, and it's a 2-door. I've been looking around for a little while because it's like a full-size vehicle inside. They got pretty good ground clearance. I mean, I love this thing. He had the torsion bars turned up so it was more like a Jeep, and I go, this isn't a Jeep. He's like, yeah.
What
But I was trying.
Russ, what color do you think it is, Chris? I mean, Amigos were...
Well, mine was red with yellow lettering.
Yeah, I'm going to guess this one for some reason is like that greenish blue.
I gotcha.
What do you think, Russ?
I think it's black.
Oh.
What do we got, Jared? What color is it?
You guys have some good guesses. I had one of those little Suzuki Vitaras. Same thing, 2-door. It was black, but this one's silver.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah, we're terrible at this game.
Uh-huh.
We're
We are.
really bad.
Jared, thanks very much for the call. Good luck. Yeah, the Amigo was I loved that thing. No
Amigo.
air conditioning.
No?
No, because the top will come
You
off.
didn't need it.
Well,
Turned the air on it.
Turns
Took
out-
off like 50 horsepower, too, didn't it?
turns out you did. You did need it. And I put a sunroof in it. So it had a sunroof and the back came off. And I had to get rid of it before it needed tires because I couldn't.
Did it have the 33-inch tires on
It
it?
had
the
big
bigger
tires on it. Yeah, it was going to be about $800 for tires at the time, which was pretty.
You ever
a lot.
wonder where your old cars are at? Like right now, that thing could be running around.
That one I know where that one is. It got rolled and wrecked. Yeah,
You got a history of that.
Exactly.
You sell a
What's
car,
the
they
deal?
roll it, wreck it.
that
Don't
is
buy a car from Chris.
It's the third. It's the third one. That is one of three. Three of my cars, and I didn't even think of that until just now because 2 of them I knew, but then the Volkswagen got rolled too. Oh man,
Right away.
not buying a car from you, Chris.
you wouldn't want to. It wouldn't be safe.
I'm going to roll over if I do.
Kind of neat when you see where your old cars are, and sometimes you're glad you don't have them. Not the ones you want back, but any of them. You just go, oh, hey, it is. There it is. And sometimes you're not sure. It's like, oh, there's a blue Amigo. Could that be it?
My first car, 90 Geo Metro, was alive last I heard. It was a few years ago. It was still going.
My Geo Metro's across the street, sitting down behind a dirt pile, getting slowly buried over across at the gas. That's my car.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, that's my Metro. I sold it to him for a little race car chasing.
Oh.
But our old tow truck from Nordstrom's Towing, I was up in Minnesota Friday, and I took a left to go up to the lake, and I looked over at the stop sign and I went, "What? Wait, huh?" It caught me so off guard at this old kind of rundown looking place, and I went, "That's our truck."
Did they take Nordstrom's off the door?
Well, yes and no. It was painted over a while ago, and the paint faded, so it's starting to come through, and it says our towing's still on there, and the Nordstrom's part is partially visible, and then it's got their sticker
Forgot
over
about
it.
that old truck.
Yeah, but it doesn't look like it runs. But I just said, hey, there's an old vehicle, and my wife caught it too. She's like, hey, isn't that your old tow truck? I'm like, unfortunately, yes.
We're going to take a break. When we come back, we want to hear from you on the Under the Hood Show, 866-594-4150. Sioux Falls Classic Car Auction is coming to the Denny Sanford Premier Center on Saturday, July 31st, and it'll feature the finest classic and collector vehicles from across the Northern Plains. I wish I could get my Metro or my Amigo on the Classic Car Auction. Local and regional buyers will be bidding live in the auction arena with national and international buyers bidding by phone and internet. To consign a vehicle from your collection or register to bid, visit classiccarauction.us. Classic Car Auction Group specializes in a wide selection of vintage cars, trucks, street rods, restored to original vehicles, muscle cars, special interest vehicles, motorcycles, true classics, and more. This auction's open to any classic and collector vehicle 20 years and older. Appropriate consignments include original vehicles in good condition as well as restored and customs. A consignment specialist will work with sellers on the details of all auction items. This event will be a wonderful time for buyers and sellers, enthusiasts, and families to enjoy and experience a professional classic and collector car auction in an interactive environment. Entrance to the Classic Car Auction will be $10 for adults, ages 12 and under, or free. It's the Sioux Falls Classic Car Auction, Saturday, July 31st at the Denny Sanford Premier Center. For more information, go to classiccarauction.us.
Get your planner out right now and schedule your next radio appointment with the Motor Medics.
866-594-4150. From the Autotempest.com studios, all the cars, one search. This is the Under the Hood Show. Let's talk to Wade. Wade, you're on the Under the Hood Show. What can we do for you?
Well, I've got a little question about I have a 64 GTO. I'm sorry, I've got that too, but I've got a 64 Corvair that I had a problem with last night. My wife had it out. She came back, and the front left wheel was smoking, and I'm pretty sure it's the brake drum, but I know nothing about drum brakes.
Well,
so how would I find out if it's that or a wheel bearing problem or?
Did you hear how Wade snuck in the fact that he has a GTO and a Corvair?
I wrote a note down.
That was just like me and the Amigo and the Geo Metro, only a little bit different.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty much the same, yeah.
Yeah, when I pulled into the garage next to my 2022 Corvette,
yeah.
which is not true.
Oh, man. So think of it, people get nervous when they think of front drum brakes, but really just think of it as a car or a truck that has rear drums and front discs. It's pretty much exactly the same. You've got the same drum set up in the rear as you do in the front. You just don't have parking brakes on the front of most cars, but there were a few way back in the day that had a parking brake on the front. So with the cars with drum brakes in the fronts, here's what we got to do. You need to jack the front end up, turn the wheels, and hopefully they're still sticking, because then you can discern whether it's a wheel bearing issue or drum brake right away. But also, you've got to repack the front wheel bearings in those older cars, whether disc or drum. They've got a packable bearing in it. So you're going to take that apart. You're going to inspect the bearings, put it back together. And when you do put it back together, make sure you torque it properly. And there's a little procedure that's set for all those front brakes when you're repacking them. But you just replace the shoes like you normally would. And it's so cheap to do these brakes in this car. You want to replace everything. You want to put both front brake hoses on it. They're probably going to be $10 to $15 each. A new wheel cylinder, which is probably going to be $8, and then shoes, and just buy some new drums for it. The drum, if they're either going to be available and pretty cheap, like in the $40 range a piece, or they're going to be probably not available at all. I haven't looked up a Corvair front drum brake in a long time, even though my grandson has one, the same car basically, and he's getting ready to do the brakes all the way around. I didn't ask him if he had found front drums for it yet or not. He did find the rear ones, but yeah, it's pretty simple. You're going to take it apart and go, wow, this is pretty simple, although it's a pain to stretch those springs where they need to go on your drum brakes, just like they always have been in the back of cars.
If there's a hardware kit available, just buy the hardware kit with all the pieces. Get
the whole thing, and you may even be able to find the entire kit available at the auto parts store.
Okay.
Most likely,
would there be any benefit or?
I was going to say, most likely the problem is with the brake drums, with the brakes themselves. Most likely, if you get to the point where it's smoking like that, most likely, if it was a wheel bearing and it was getting that bad, it would probably be already scoring off the metal.
And new bearings are probably $20 for each side too.
Should I consider converting it to disc brakes at this point, or leaving it the way it is?
You could. If they're adjusted properly and they're in good shape, it should stop pretty well. But if you've done performance work to the car and you want to get it to stop a little quicker, by all means, you can look at disc brakes. Disc brake kit for that car is probably going to run you in the range of $750 to $1,500 for a standard disc brake kit, which will come with the disc brakes, probably spindles and master cylinder and a proportioning valve and everything. And you can go, the sky's the limit on brakes for those. If you've got a LS engine in one or something, you really want to stop it and do with 4-wheel disc, it's going to cost you, $3,000-$4,000.
There's a cool factor when it comes to disc brakes of switching it over, but you could probably buy all the hardware for the drum brakes for $250. Give or take.
Yeah, everything.
Did I mention this is my wife's car? This is not a performance vehicle.
Well, you never know. Some of the wives have cars that are faster than ours.
That changes it up for me too. I mean, then I would think if it's not a performance vehicle, go with the drum brakes. But if it were my wife's car, I might think let's go with disc brakes, because I know we did that on my old car with when my daughter was going to buy it. One of the first things we were going to do was switch it over to disc brakes.
Yeah, because we had the drums on your Beetle, because it tended to pull to one side or the other, and we were adjusting them every couple months.
Yeah.
And just to make it nice, we were going to go with the disc. And your kit on yours wasn't bad. It was like $1,200 for 4-wheel disc brakes on yours, so it did make sense.
Mm-hmm. Does that help you out, Wade? Does it get you pointed in the right direction?
Well, I'll probably tackle it myself now rather than worrying about something else being a problem. So yeah, I think that's probably something I can do myself.
100%.
Wade, thanks very much for the call. 866-594-4150. Let's go to Texas and talk to Richard. You're on the Under the Hood Show. Richard, what can we do for you?
Yeah, I've got an '08 Dodge Ram 1500 quad cab, and my speed control has stopped working.
Uh-oh.
And now I can get in it, start it, and push the on button on the steering wheel, and the light in the dash will come on. But that's the only time. It doesn't matter what speed I'm at. I can be cruising on the highway. I did get it at one time. I was doing 75, and I hit it, and it came on, and it worked. But since then, it has not.
So the green lights, the cruise light is always coming on when you hit the on button. It just won't engage.
No, the only time that the light in the dash will come on is if I'm sitting still.
Okay, but once you're starting moving, it's off?
Yes.
Okay. There are some lockouts in that system that would apply when you started moving. So if you're stopped and you hit the on button and it works, but then you put it into gear, if it doesn't see things like the brake light switch working properly, which activates the cruise through a separate section in it, or even the third brake light in the rear of the cab that lights up on the top, that little UFO light, if that's not working, when you step on the brake and put it in gear, it's going to cancel the cruise. The way we look for the cruise problem is we plug a scanner into it, and it'll tell us what was the last thing that deactivated the cruise, which makes it great for a technician to find it. It'll say brake light switch. It'll say brake fluid low. It'll say, Prindle switch, the park neutral switch on the transmission. All those things will show those things. So it makes it kind of easy to find that as a technician. But if you don't have a scanner, it makes it a little harder. Is this Richard Evans?
Yes, it is.
Gosh,
How you doing?
Good. It seems like I haven't talked to you in almost 40 years.
Yeah, I know.
Unfortunately, I'm going to be
a long time.
I tell you what, I'm going to do something I don't do very often on the show for people, since you're my cousin. I'm going to be in Texas over Labor Day. I'll bring a scanner with me. Yeah, I'll bring a scanner with me. I'm sure Mom would like to see you if you want to stop by. We'll keep in
I've been
touch.
wanting to go see her.
All right. Well, we're going to keep in touch on Facebook then, and if you've got a chance, then I'll bring my scanner with me, and I'll check out your truck real quick, see if I can't figure out what that is for you.
Richard, thanks very much for the call.
Okay, cool.
All right, take care.
All right, thanks, guys.
You bet.
Thanks a lot.
This long distance dedication was brought to
Yeah.
you.
We should do that. Let's do that more. If people want to fly us out, I'll go too, and I could announce what you're doing. Like if they want,
Well, you could take video.
Yeah.
You know, he is one of the reasons I got into cars and mechanical stuff when I was very young. They had a motorcycle out at their lake in Conroe, and I thought that was the coolest thing. So it kind of got me interested in cars. And
awesome.
In Michigan, all the neighbors that had the Wixons and all their tons of cars and stuff around, it was just, I think, you kind of grow. If I would have grown up around just maybe baseball or something only, it would have been a different story. But here I am.
We'd be doing a baseball podcast
On the mound with Russ Evans.
That's
There
right.
you go.
I would wait till Labor Day too. If it were me, if Russ said to me right now he'd take a look at my car, but he's not until he comes back from Texas at Labor Day, I could wait.
I would wait, but I'd also try to get out there and find the problem and say, hey, thanks, I fixed it. Thank you.
Thanks.
Don't need
That'd be all right.
Don't bring the scanner. It was the bulb in the
I'm not
high
coming
brake light.
over. I'm not coming over
You
to
should
see
still
you.
come over. It's
Yeah,
not
I
like
should.
there's some good love there.
We're going to take a break. When we come back, we want to hear from you. The phone number to reach us, 866-594-4150. You're listening to the Under the Hood Show.
Car feeling ill? Don't want to spread it to your wallet? Call the Motor Medics now for free advice.
866-594-4150 from the Autotempest.com studios. All the cars, one search. This is the Under the Hood Show. If you like us on Facebook or you follow us on our YouTube channel and join the Hoodie Fan Club at underthehoodshow.com, you could win a hoodie.
Like Melanie Maxwell, who listens to us in Parachute, Colorado. Congratulations from all of us here under the hood and our friends over at Universal Technical Institute, uti.edu. They're on a mission to get new technicians trained to be able to join the workforce, because right now the workforce is very low and the demand is very high, which means you should go to Universal Technical Institute, uti.edu. because they can get you trained in a career, they can pay you well, and you'll learn from the best. They're working right along with the factory. They know what they're doing. They're going to get you the experience you need to get a career, not just a job, but a real, this is a profession, a professional place. You need to be, you can't just walk in and say, hey, I want to work on cars. I'm a mechanic. No, you've got to be trained. The cars are getting crazy. They're becoming electrified, which is a huge thing. You need to know about that stuff, or it's going to be like those guys who tried to entry level to work on fuel injection, who'd worked on carburetors for a year and thought, oh, I can do it. I don't need any training at all. No, you need Universal Technical Institute. So check them out.
And if you're unaware, it pays good too these days.
Yes, and
Very
getting better all the time. And our friends over at CarMax. CarMax is hiring experienced auto technicians for many of its 200-plus stores nationwide. If you're looking for a job where you can make a great living while working on the cars you love, CarMax is the place for you. Join CarMax and grow your technical expertise and work with state-of-the-art tools and technology. Work on the cars you love. Join CarMax. Apply today at CarMaxAutotech.com.
866-594-4150. Let's talk to Bill. You're on the End of the Hood Show. Bill, what can we do for you?
Hi there. Well, I've got an intermittent problem on a 05 Ford 500, and I know everyone hates intermittent problems, but occasionally after rain or humidity, we're very humid out, you have to do the old floor it, like clear flood. It fires up and starts every time, but not sure what the issue might be. I've done the plugs and coil backs. I just don't know what else to even think of trying. So I thought, see if you guys had any ideas.
If you got a car that's has to go into clear flood mode in order to start it, which all the fuel injection cars do when you hold it to the floor.
It's kind of cool that they made the same thing similar to what you used to do with the carburetor.
Yeah, you're just giving it more air. But when you step on it, it opens the throttle wide open to give you more air, and it turns off the fuel injection system. It's possible that you have a fuel injector that is leaking a little bit. We've replaced a few on the Ford 500 style motors. A lot of cars don't have problems with injectors leaking. They can clog and give you misfires, but other cars, you can get leaky injectors. So that's one possibility. If you had a way to smell the exhaust a little bit, you don't want to stick your nose right over it. Don't put your lips on the tailpipe. It's no good. You get burnt,
It's not a didgeridoo, Oscar.
No. But did he do that?
Yeah, when my son was about 2, he went and tried to play the tailpipe like a didgeridoo. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And the car was running?
No, it was cold, thankfully.
Oh,
Good.
yeah.
I was going to say.
It's one of my favorite pictures of him now.
You have a picture?
yeah.
Well, then you're complicit in that.
Well, not of him doing it afterwards with the exhaust dust around his face.
That's, oh boy. So
Kids, don't do that.
If you could get in the general vicinity when it started, if you could smell exhaust fumes that smelled really heavily gassy, that would be an indication that, yes, we've got an overfueling issue, which could be from a leaky injector. And you'd have to start with that and find out what's going on. But it could also be a throttle position sensor that's failing, which is part of that throttle body, electronic throttle body, and that's causing it to act up that way. So a scanner may give you a little idea what's going on with that.
Okay, yeah, I was going the other way with it being electrical because it only did it when it was humid. So
it could be either one.
Well, that what I did didn't fix it, so it's got to be something else.
And when you're looking at the scanner,
all right,
look at the data for the engine temperature, both intake air and the engine coolant, and make sure that they jive with each other. If it sits overnight and the engine coolant reads 72 degrees and the outside temp is 72 degrees, you're good to go. But if the engine coolant temperature reads 160 and it's 70 outside after sitting for 7 or 8 hours, that coolant temp sensor could do it too. So watch that data real close.
That is I'm learning a lot about my car with the coolant temp on the dashboard, because it does things that are totally normal, I'm finding out, but they are alarming when you see them. Like if I go drive my car for a half hour, I park it, and 10 minutes later I get back in it, it shoots up super high, and I get nervous, and it's fine.
Builds a lot of heat.
Yeah,
it's a race car, man.
Yeah, and holds on to it. Although the fans now, they run a lot in weather like this. Those fans run a lot.
Oh, especially with the air on.
866-594-4150. Jeff's on the road from Tennessee to Florida. Jeff, you're on the Under the Hood Show. What can we do for you?
Yeah, I've got 2013 Jeep Wrangler, two-door. But my question is, the other day, I put it in drive, and it didn't feel like it felt like the parking brake was on. Like it just wouldn't move forward or back. Drove a little bit, pulled to the right, almost feeling like something was hung up. Stopped it, checked it out, checked brake fluid, all that kind of stuff. Jumped back in, ran straight as an arrow down the road. So my question is, do you think that could be something you got in there where a caliper is hanging up, or something is just, like I said, it felt like when you put a car in drive, and you got an emergency brake on or a parking brake, it just didn't want to go. And then after you do that, I got a quick follow-up question about another car. So that's my first one I was calling in on.
When the vehicle did that, where were you at? Where had you been setting at? Is it what part of the country?
Oh, I'm in Florida.
Because I just kind of wonder if you built up a little bit of just metallic on the brakes. Then
dust.
It was just hanging a little bit on the brakes, and it just enough that you had to kind of break it free. You didn't have any warning lights on. You weren't in four-wheel drive. You were just regular driving, right?
Just sitting. So right when I put it in gear, it just, how if you put it in gear, it's an automatic. So, I mean, it would normally roll without putting the brake on. And that's what I've had a couple of people tell me, that it probably was maybe something in the caliper. It's worked its well loose. And it's a 2013. We haven't been driving that much, but I'm driving a lot more. Like right now, I'm driving it, no issues down the road there. But I think kind of what you said is what I'm hearing might have been the issue.
Yeah, that's very possible. You do want to get it checked. Just give it a quick look over. If it's working great now, maybe the next time you have your oil changed, if it's not something you're going to check yourself or feel comfortable with, just have them take a quick peek if it's a place that does brakes as well, or maybe choose a place that does.
Rotate the tires and have them inspect the brakes.
There you go, because the wheels will be off. They'll be able to look and see if they're changing colors, if they're blue and red and different things because they've been getting hot. They'll be able to see that. They'll be able to see the condition of the pads. But sometimes when you let these vehicles sit parked, is this a manual transmission?
No, you said it was an automatic.
It is an automatic. Yep. Okay. I completely spaced that. Then you can have problems with it if the parking brakes have been engaged at some point, sticking, because they're internal drum brake with an external disc brake. And like Shannon says, you get that little bit of dust built up inside. And then with the humidity, they can stick. We've had a lot of heat and humidity. Even
Florida this time of year is tropical.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So,
yet another question there, Jeff?
No, there. Yeah. At one point in time, I lived in Minneapolis, and I had this roommate, and I had a 300ZX.
Oh, yeah.
Brown we used to ride around the T-tops with, and I understand you might talk about that vehicle every once in a while. And if Chris is online, he probably knows who he's talking to.
Now I do. Jeff Schwartz, how are you?
Hey, buddy, how you been?
Fantastic.
The first one was legitimate, but I saw your posting on Facebook. I follow you, and I saw I'm on the road. I'm going to call in and throw that one to him to see what if it jogs a memory. How you doing?
I'm fantastic. Yeah, I do talk about that. That was one time he had an old 280 that was.
Those are cool.
Oof! Yep. It was pretty. It was pretty
rough.
used up. Yeah, and he got a 300, and it was that when I talk about the first time I ever tried out a car. Jeff doesn't know this. It was in his car. He let me. I drove him to the airport one time, and on the way home, I tested that thing out pretty good.
Well, and Nissan is unveiling a new 400Z, or they're going to call it something, and they've been teasing it a lot in their commercials with a yellow car that looks pretty cool.
Yeah.
And in those commercials, you see some of the heritage pictures of the 280s and the 300s. They got a special place in car history and not appreciated enough, I don't think. That's pretty cool.
Jeff, thanks very much for the call, man.
Hey, I'm glad to hear your voice. Glad you're doing well, and keep up the good work.
Thanks a lot for the call. That was his 300 was the old style, the kind of angular one, and I was just looking at those on Autotempest.com. Their value is up there quite a bit.
So it was like an 84 300ZX, 85 somewhere in there.
Yeah, 87, I think it was.
Yeah. We sold a lot of those as reparables.
Yeah,
I was looking at Autotempest.com the other day at the 79, the 280s, because I liked them when we grew up on that kind of stuff in high school, and it was they were cool. But they're like, for me, I was like, nope, that's untouchable for what I want to spend right now.
I'm going to tie two stories together quick. You talked earlier about vehicles that you had and where they're at now. My son and I fixed up, with the help of Boxy's Paint and Body, a 370Z when he was a junior in high school. We got the car all done. He drove it, got ready to go to college, sold it, didn't know where the car went. Kind of kept an eye on it for a little bit at the dealership that it went to because we traded it. Car's gone. I'm walking through the office where the bidders work to bid on salvage, and Chad, who's our lead buyer, says to me, he goes, hey, you want to buy another 370? Because he knew I had fixed this one. And I'm looking at him like, why don't you run the VIN number on that? He goes, oh, why? I said, just run the VIN number. Yep, that's Riley's old car.
Really?
It had gotten wrecked again. We bought it again and fixed it again. And now he's done with college and has that car back, and he's cruising around in it.
Oh, nice.
So it's a 370Z.
Sure.
So a little partial to those two.
866-594-4150. Jeff sounds old. Yeah, not me. I don't.
I feel like I should have somebody call that I haven't talked to in 20
guess,
years.
yeah.
This is pretty cool.
Let's talk to Myron. Myron, you're on the Under the Hood show. What can we do for you?
Yeah, I use 5W30 engine oil all the time, and it's getting increasingly more difficult to even find any without a synthetic blend, they're calling it now. Is that okay to use that?
Actually, all oil that is not a straight weight, like a 30 weight or 40 weight or 50 weight, is all synthetic blend. It's just kind of government mandated the way they make it. Now, the amount that's in there, how it's refined, is different. If you buy like a Mobile One or something like that, our partner Liquimoly, that has very high quality synthetic oils for everything, not just cars, they have super synthetic blends. But if you're trying to find a non-synthetic 530, you're not going to find it. You can just go to the store, buy an off-the-shelf basic, and that's going to be a lower synthetic. But pretty much everything's going to be a synthetic blend.
So in general, for Myron, no problem.
No problem.
Okay.
Look for the vehicle you're putting the oil in. Make sure you find out what the recommended API service grade and viscosity is. Follow that, and you'll be golden. And it's a little difficult sometimes to figure it out, but with the help of somebody at the parts store, you can figure it out.
Myron, thanks very much for the call. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we want to hear from you. 866-594-4150. You're listening to the Under the Hood Show.
Make a radio appointment each week to hear the Nordstrom's Under the Hood Show.
866-594-4150 from the Autotempest.com studios. All the cars, one search. You're listening to the Under the Hood Show. Let's go to Montana and talk to Tracy. You're on the Under the Hood Show. Tracy, what can we do for you?
Yeah, I didn't tell you where I was at. That's a bad sign.
Caller
I got a
ID.
2007 Ford Explorer V8 automatic. And I've had this thing for years, but it's got probably 298,000 miles on it now. But this may not be relevant, but when it was brand new, one thing I really hated about it, almost to the point of getting rid of it, was the shifter. The knob itself was about the size and shape of a beer can. Fake leather, it was plastic, and had a weird knob button to push for overdrive right on the very top of it. So I went looking see if an Explorer had a different one at a salvage yard and couldn't find one, but I saw one that I thought was really cool in a Ford Edge. And I took that home, and of course it didn't fit. So I had to do some drilling and tapping and shortening the rod inside the tube and all that. And I had to change the connector on the overdrive was different, but it's worked beautifully for years and probably still does. But I am having a problem with my shift interlock. Sometimes I'm stuck in park with the key in, the vehicle running, can't shift out of park, can't get the key out, can't turn it off. So, I have to pull the console apart and touch the little teeny black interlock lever, and everything is good, hunky-dory. So I cleaned all the schmutz out of it and lubed it with some silicone spray lube that goes on wet and then dries, and then I put on some better lube after that was dry. And it still does it every once in a while. So is it more likely that it's the solenoid, the brake pedal switch, or the little teeny thing inside the plastic case? Russ will know what I'm talking about. And another thing, I can be holding the brake down while I'm working on this and watching it, and it works perfectly, but then all of a sudden, without even moving my foot and the brake down, the solenoid will go in and out real quick.
There's a switch in the shifter itself that allows that interlock to work. So when you've got it in park and you're stepping on the brake pedal and you hear that click, 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 you don't want to hear that when it's in drive or reverse. So therefore, they turn it off. The shifter is what allows that circuit to be completed. And if that is failing, if you've had to lube that thing up, pretty good idea that could be failing. So you might have to replace the whole shifter assembly. You could look online at the wiring diagram for that, then go to the shifter and jump that circuit and see if it works all the time. If it does, then you could verify for sure that's what's going on and then replace that shifter before you have to. You don't want to throw a part at it if you don't really need it. But if you can jump it and verify it, then you could go like to car-part.com, buy a shifter. They'll send you one, and there's so many out there. More of them work than don't, so you should be able to get a good used shifter for it.
Okay, it's still involved with the brake switch too, though, correct?
Yes, the brake switch is what sends the power in through the shifter, and then if that circuit is closed by being in park, it will allow the interlock to open. So it could be any of those things in that circuit. But the first thing I would check, just because of the large number that we've seen fail, would be the actual circuit that closes in the shifter itself.
Tracy, thanks very much for the call, wherever you are. 866
with a huge shifter that he got rid of.
594-4150. Let's talk to Jay. You're on the End of the Hood Show. Jay, what can we do for you?
Yes, sir. I have a 2010 RAV4, and we bought it used. It had been a fleet vehicle, had all maintenance records on it. Excuse me. But anyway, had 80,000 miles on it. Now we've got it at 218,000 miles, and I was wondering what you might recommend as far as any possible maintenance on the automatic transmission.
Oh yeah, check the fluid. If it's not super dark and burnt, we would change it. It's not a flush on that one. It's just a drain and fill. They usually ask you to do it twice to get all the majority of the fluid out, but just drain it, fill it, doesn't hold a whole lot, so it's going to be less fluid capacity than if you did a complete flush. But if it's really, really burnt, now that the fluids in those Hondas tends to turn dark immediately. If you
Toyota.
put brand new, or Honda, Toyota, both of them. I'm
Yep,
thinking,
they do the kind of the same thing.
yeah, Mitsubishi's, any of the foreign ones, the fluid turns really dark really quick. So, example, you put fluid in it, you drive it a day, it's going to be dark. It shouldn't be burnt, shouldn't smell burnt, but it's going to be a darker color than the bright red factory color. So don't be alarmed by that. But so when you're sampling yours, you've either got to discern for yourself what you think the condition is of it and how it's working now, or have a mechanic that's experienced with that look at it. Because some mechanics might say, oh, yeah, that's burnt, it's horrible. While other ones would say, no, that's a Toyota, that's a Honda, the Mitsubishi. That they do that when they're going to smell it and say, yeah, it smells like synthetic fluid. It doesn't smell burnt. But if it smells burnt, by all means, you don't want to change it, because if you do, you could end up with a transmission that doesn't.
My daughter was
transmit.
at a quick lube with the Toyota before we went on a long trip for the 4th of July driving her car, and they had recommended that she change her tyranny fluid because it was bubbling in the transmission fluid. I said, she texted me, I'm like, just say no and leave.
Is that common? I mean, is that
You'll get some cavitation.
Sure.
It'll make some bubbles in there, but that doesn't mean you need to flush it. More about the condition and the miles, not the
Jay, thanks
bubbles.
very much for the call. Is there any advantage, like, you have that rig that when you're emptying a car of fluids, it tilts the car all different ways to get the fluid out?
The mighty Blue Dragon twisted lifter?
Yeah. Is there any advantage that you would ever put a car that works, a car in its middle of its life, and kind of move it around to get stuff going there?
Probably not.
Okay.
I don't think so.
Can I borrow that for my jet ski when I fill it? Because when I fill the tank completely full, it's level with the top, and it says 3/4.
Oh,
and then I
yeah.
shake it around and shake it around and shake it really hard, and it drops down. I can put another gallon in, and then it says a little more. And then I shake it around and shake it. I need a twisted lifter
There
to
you
get
go.
the poor design.
Check out our video at nordstromsauto.com. You'll see what we're talking about.
Let's talk to Kevin in Iowa. Kevin, you're on the Under the Hood show. What can we do for you?
Hey, guys. Good to talk to you, and I sure appreciate your show. I'm watching you live today. I've never got to do that before.
Thank
Fun.
you.
And the other thing is I took a huge road trip a while back, and I had hours and hours of your podcast saved up, and it made the road trip a blast because I
love
listened to
it.
you guys halfway across the country.
My
That was a good time.
my
Anyway,
family
I don't
doesn't
live-
like riding with me that long.
Right.
I was driving alone, so no one else cared if an old gearhead was at the wheel. They didn't give a toot. So anyway, I actually don't live in Iowa anymore, even though my phone number's there. Shannon, I used to run a dairy there for 40 years, so I know some of what you did. But anyway, I live in Fayetteville, Arkansas now, and I have a 55 Chevy that I've had forever. And I had the radiator worked on a while back, and the guy said, yeah, I got the leaks plugged, but it's a little bit on the weak side. It's kind of like warning me. Would it pay to put something like K-Seal in there to prevent leaks in the future? Just use it for joyriding. But I just wonder if that will extend it, or if I shouldn't do that until I have a leak.
Yes.
Yes, very much so.
We talk with their stuff all the time, and part of their promotion is prevents future leaks.
Yep. Help stop leaks and prevent future leaks.
And so
K-Seal.
we've had good success with that product. But if that is still an original radiator in that car, the old copper and brass, and it's hanging in there, that's quite impressive.
Yeah.
Because by now most people have either gotten a new one that's a replacement aluminum, or they've put in a custom radiator, it seems like. But that's quite impressive.
Yeah, the K-Seal would be
Yeah,
great.
I am. Sure, it's original.
It is original?
Yeah, it's the original radiator. Yeah.
They used it on a Bugatti that was worth
A lot.
a lot of money, millions of dollars. So it'll work on your Chevy.
Yeah, it's a good, and it is like, it's not like the old back in the day when you did it as a last resort. This is something you can do.
Yeah, if
Yep.
you take
Early
the
in.
engine apart, you won't see signs of it in there when you take it apart. It just does its job. And
you guys actually see
Quietly.
that. You've taken radiators out that have had.
oh yeah, I had it in my truck, and I took it apart when I was doing a flush, and I saw no signs of it anywhere in there, which is good.
Kevin, thanks very much for the call. And thanks for listening. Thanks for taking us with you on the road. 866-594-4150. Hour 2 is coming up. That'll do it for this hour of the Under the Hood Show. The Under the Hood Show is brought to you by Sturdivant's.
Shannon Nordstrom and Russ the Super Tech Evans. Shannon is an ASE engine and parts specialist, and Russ is an ASE Master Certified Technician with extensive factory drivability training. Join the Motor Medics for fun and free automotive advice with real-world solutions to everyday automotive problems. The Under the Hood Show is heard weekly on this and other great radio stations across the U.S. Find out how you can participate in the show by visiting underthehoodshow.com.
With Russ Evans, this is Shannon Nordstrom, thanking you for tuning in to the Nordstrom's Under the Hood Show. Have a great day, and remember, PTLA.
The opinions heard on this program, based on the many years of experience of Russ and Shannon, are offered for entertainment value only and as a guide to your repair needs. No claim to repair or cause is given or implied. Always consult with your own certified technician and follow all safety procedures before attempting any repair. To be a part of the show, call 866-594-4150. Under the Hood is produced by Prairie House Productions. All content is the property of Nordstrom's Automotive Incorporated and may not be used without our permission. Copyright Nordstrom's Automotive, Inc. Now, let's go under the hood with the Nordstrom's Motor Medics.
From the Autotempest.com studios, all the cars, one search. This is the Under the Hood Show. Russ Evans is here to answer your automotive questions.
Welcome. Thanks for joining us under the hood.
Shannon Nordstrom is here to do the same.
Welcome, hoodies. Thanks for tuning in so we can help you tune up.
I'm Chris Carter here to answer your calls at 866-594-4150. We've got calls coming in, but before we get to that, I was just looking at your workspace over there. Can you rein that in a little bit?
Is it getting out of control?
I think so.
Reel it in.
And it's not jumbled. It's
not using any of it, really. That's the worst part.
It looks very symmetrical, but it's
the calls have been rolling in, so I haven't needed to go to any of these news stories. So
it just seems to be spreading out more and more.
Well, this one I'll get rid of if we talk about it today.
Okay.
So I'll put that over here.
All right.
I'm working on it.
Now let's go to Mississippi while you're doing that and talk to Dexter. You're on the Under the Hood Show. What can we do for you?
I have a 93 Geo Prism that my wife and I bought new way back when, still driving. And it's a plain Jane as can be. The only options the vehicle has is a air conditioner and a radio. And it does not have intermittent wipers, which I would really like to have since I now live on the Mississippi Gulf Coast where it rains a lot. So what are my options to be able to convert what I currently have, which is basically just, it's a lever on the right side where you twist the knob so it's either slow or fast, or you can push it up for a mist function where it only wipes once. It wipes as long as you hold it up, but it's spring-loaded and returns back to normal position. So what would be my options to change that where I have a delay wiper?
They make an aftermarket kit for that. I haven't put one on in 30 years.
And it should still work on that 93, correct?
Yeah, so what it does is it's a little box that sticks to your dash with two-sided tape.
Little lever comes out and just pushes the mist feature every so often.
Exactly. That's what it is. So it's a little box that attaches to your dash with two-sided tape. Then it has a ignition switch wire to it, one wire, and then a ground. And when you turn and one wire also coming out of this thing, that one wire hooks up to the mist position part of the switch. And when you turn it on and your ignition's on and your wiper switch is off, of course, it just sends out a pulse from every 30 seconds down to every 1 second, whatever you dial it in as, to run your wipers. So you just driving on the road, you hit the button to turn it on and dial it up faster or slower. It's that simple. And they used to sell them in like the J.C. Whitney catalogs, and they were $18 back then. But this was 30 years ago. I don't know what they'd run today, but I can't imagine they'd be any more than $40 now.
Well, that car is a Toyota Corolla in disguise. Is there any chance that he could go to
I think it's the last year that before Chevy took it over, because I think there's only like two parts I think I've seen left, starter and the alternator, that are GM. The rest is pretty much a Corolla.
If he went to a self-service yard and could get fortunate enough to find one with the setup of intermittent wipers, could he change out the control handle and the motor and make it work? Or do you think he'd have to run some wiring or not?
I think that one uses a module. I think it has that you'd have to change the switch, the wiper motor under the hood, and also put in a wiper module in there to make that
So we
run.
need to find a wiring harness on the internet, find a wiring diagram.
to do it that way, but I'm going the easy way.
Yeah.
If you can find one of those intermittent wiper controls aftermarket, because so many of the new ones are made to tie in with the data, just a good old fashioned dial it up type thing.
Before we leave Dexter, you know what I think of when I hear of a 93 Prizm? I think of warranties on transmissions.
Oh.
Because that was one of the first ones we ran across where people didn't realize that there was a separate differential fluid cavity and transmission fluid cavity.
Huh.
And you had, if I remember right, you had to fill the differential fluid separately.
And they would drain them when they do service and they'd drive down the road.
Yep, and then they would fry them because they'd forget to put the fluids back in.
We were talking about this on the show going back in.
I'm pretty sure it was these were the first ones that really kicked our butt.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about this on the radio show. We've been doing the show so long that we talked about this when they were active back in the 90s. Crazy.
Fun stuff, Dexter. Thanks for the call.
866-594-4150. My uncle had an aftermarket cruise control put on his 72 station wagon and had to show everybody.
Sure.
Same theory. It was just a little box that hooked up on the dashboard and ran a cruise control.
It was a big deal.
Yeah,
it was a really big deal. Sears had them. J.C. Whitney. It was right next to the electronic football at Sears.
Let's talk to Colin. Colin, you're on the Under the Hood show. What can we do for you?
Gentlemen, I have a 1985 Chrysler Fifth Avenue. Been running the air conditioning a lot in recent hot weather.
Yeah.
And find the driver's floor mat is getting wet. What's the proper procedure for curing that problem?
Well,
trying to blow out the tube?
Scare the spiders out if it's lucky enough to be that?
There's two problems with those cars. Problem 2 is the drain tube not draining that box.
Would
completely.
this be the 85 Fifth Avenue
That's the
rear-wheel
big
drive,
one.
big boat with a V8?
Got to be. Because that's the one I'm talking about.
It's rear 318. Yeah.
Okay, all right. Because they made kind of a front-wheel drive K-car based version of that car somewhere in those years too. So
Great, because the path I'm going down is the full-size rear-wheel drive.
I wanted to make sure myself too. So
So the second problem would be that tube not draining, because if that tube is not draining, it will overflow, but it typically is on the passenger side. Problem 1, now we're back to 1 secondly.
going backwards.
I was in Texas when these cars came out, and with the hot, humid weather and running that air all the time, if it was run long enough to get the AC ducts very cold and it was a humid day, you weren't running on the max position, you were running on the normal position. So you had a humid day and there's still humidity in the car and those air ducts were super cold. Condensation would build up on the outside of the boxes and it would start dripping on your feet. And people would complain about it. And there was nothing that could be done. Chrysler basically said, tough, don't run the air conditioner that long on that cold because, or run the max setting to keep the humidity out of the inside, because it's just that good of a system that with the R12 in it, it would get that cold and condensate. I have the same problem in my camper. The air ducts get so cold that it's like a refrigerator or a glass of root beer. It's just wet on the outside because it's that cold. So, yeah, it's that could be what's going on. So you want to make sure the condensate drain tube is clear, and if it is, look at the actual case up under the dash when it's that cold and starts getting wet. Shine a flashlight in there, and if you see water on the outside of it just condensating, that's normal.
That was the generation of Fifth Avenues that they rolled a ton of that type of body style in the Blues Brothers, right?
I just remember
They
that
were so tough.
my neighbor had one, and it was back when I cared that cops' headlights were square, and that's how you could tell the difference if the cops were coming. So
yeah, you could see those in your rearview mirror quick.
Yeah, round headlights were fine, and then the neighbor had one, and so that kind of threw that test out the window. It burned us a lot. 866-594-4150. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we want to hear from you on the Under the Hood Show. Sioux Falls Classic Car Auction is coming to the Denny Sanford Premier Center on Saturday, July 21st. It'll feature the finest classic and collector vehicles from across the Northern Plains. Local and regional buyers will be bidding live in the auction arena with national and international buyers bidding by phone and internet. To consign a vehicle from your collection or register to bid, visit classiccarauction.us. Classic Car Auction Group specializes in a wide selection of vintage cars, trucks, street rods, restored to original vehicles, muscle cars, special interest vehicles, motorcycles, true classics, and more. The auction is open to any classic and collector vehicle 20 years and older. Appropriate consignments include original vehicles in good condition, as well as restored and customs. A consignment specialist will work with sellers on the details of all auction items. The event will be a wonderful time for buyers and sellers, enthusiasts, and families to enjoy and experience a professional classic and collector car auction in an interactive environment. Entrance to the Classic Car Auction will be $10 for adults, ages 12 and under are free. The Sioux Falls Classic Car Auction, Saturday, July 31st at the Premier Center in Sioux Falls. ClassicCarAuction.us. Or you can call 406-698-7930 for personal consignments.
Find out how you can participate in the show by visiting UnderTheHoodShow.com.
866-594-4150 from the Autotempest.com studios. All the cars, one search. This is the Under the Hood Show. Let's talk to Bob in Minnesota. Bob, you're on the Under the Hood Show. What can we do for you?
Yes, good morning. I love your show, by the way.
Thank you.
And I listen to it every time it's rebroadcast up here on Saturdays. But I pick up lots of tips from you, but I've kind of stumped on something that just happened. I have a 2018 Chevy Express cargo van, and the other day I was going to town, and it's a flat stretch of road right to town, and as I was going past a pond, I stopped to look at some swans, and I backed up about less than 100 yards, and then as I took off, the van seemed to be dragging. It just seemed like it didn't want to shift or something. And I noticed the light came on the dash. It said, grade braking on. And I was on flat ground and I wasn't going downhill. So I let off on the gas and tried to accelerate and did the same thing. So I pulled over and shut it off and then restarted it. And then I took off and everything was normal. I'm kind of familiar with Jake braking on big rigs, and I was kind of wondering, how does this braking work on a van like mine? And it's got to be a fluke that happened, but I hope it doesn't happen very often.
There wasn't a swan stuck underneath,
That's
was there?
what I was thinking, that it got caught in there. And it was
all messed up in the works. Swan juice.
No, they were out in the water.
Okay, all right, that's good. Well, only in Minnesota, you know. Well, that system on there is an electronic system that utilizes the anti-lock braking system module in conjunction with the brake system to take certain factors. If you were trying to hold a hill, I mean, I hope I'm interpreting this right, Russ, or if you're trying to brake on a grade, it'll assist you as you're going. And for whatever reason, it triggered into that mode. You didn't go like into any sort of off camber when you pulled off the side of the road or anything like that, did you?
The only thing I did is I might have spun a wheel. No, I didn't spin the wheel, but it kind of rolled on some rocks. There were some little gravel rocks on one side of the road, and as I was pulling out, I could feel the wheel jerk a little, like it rolled on a couple of rocks on the pavement.
Traction control or something. It may have just got confused. We've had a few of those. They're not a perfect system, but they usually work pretty good. But it could have a sensor starting to fail in that ABS system that's causing an issue with that. I've had a few of them that people have called about them, but they're not acting up. Well, it's kind of like yours. They're not acting up all the time. So I tell them, don't bring it in. If it's not doing it all the time, if you can say, well, every time I do this, it acts the wrong way.
Could we replicate it?
There you go.
Every time.
If I can't, don't bring it in because I don't want to waste both of our time. But typically they get worse. They don't just go away and not happen again, unless it was because of where you were at that time, and then you find that it's perfect after that. But if it continues, once it gets bad enough to where you can duplicate, just start writing stuff down. Try to duplicate it. Once you can figure out how to duplicate that and get it to do it every time, explain that to the mechanic. They should be able to find it.
I wouldn't worry about it myself. I think you just hit a condition for whatever reason, it triggered that system. And I truly wouldn't worry about it unless you suddenly have this happen again sometime soon.
Does that help you out there, Bob?
All righty. Thank you very much. Yes, thank you.
Thanks for the call. Would you, if you passed the Swans again, would you try and replicate it, or would you not look at the Swans because it might be the Swans that did it?
Don't look at the Swans.
Yeah, don't
Just pretend like they're not there.
Yeah, just ignore them, and that'll probably fix
Hard
it.
though.
Swans are
Majestic
cool.
animal.
Let's talk to Logan in Mississippi. Logan, you're on the End of the Hood Show. What can we do for you?
Yeah, I got a 99 Dodge Dakota, and every time it gets down under a half a tank, it acts like it's flooding on me.
Starting to die out on you?
No, because it runs fine when I have it running when it goes under half. But I turn it off and leave it off for about an hour. When I go to crank it, it acts like it doesn't want to crank.
If you hold it to the floor, does it start right up then, if clear out like it's flooded?
It does.
Okay. Well, it could be that it's getting too much fuel. Usually it's the opposite way around.
I was just thinking it's the opposite when you get
the emission system. I'm wondering if it's not actually running low on fuel, because those tanks did have a problem with those pumps where they would get air pulled into them when they were below the level of where the fuel pump is attached with a little rubber hose to the pickup tube inside the tank. When the fuel level gets below that, it would suck air in there.
it would cavitate.
Yep, it would suck air, pull it in there, and it would make it run like that. It's possible that's what's going on.
And as long as you have enough fuel in there, that pump is surrounded by fuel, and it doesn't have a chance to suck air.
Right.
And that's the only thing that really makes sense, fuel level related, if it's truly that.
Yeah. Yeah, the only way to know for sure would be to have you'd have to be looking at the fuel, have a fuel pressure gauge on it, and then let it sit with below a half tank, start it up and watch and see if there's a change in the pressure when it's lower like that. And sometimes you can have good pressure if there's air in there, because the air will actually build up more pressure with heat. The air will expand quicker than gasoline will. Like a full gas can right to the top will expand less than one that has some air in it, because the air expands at a quicker rate. But either way.
So you have pressure but no volume.
Right. But you don't want to fill the gas can all the way up because you need room for expansion. Safety message. But yeah, I think it may be pulling air in, just as many as we've seen that do that in the Dodge.
Oh,
You saw he's testing it now?
Does that? What's the Logan? Thanks very much for the call. Good luck. What's the fix there?
Well, the fix would be to pull the tank, and you may not even need to put a pump in it. Well, you got it apart. That's one of the really cheap pumps, because that's just a basic motor pump without the whole module in that one. So I'd put one in it if I'm taking the bed off or taking the tank out, anyways. But the fix could be just as simple as a $1 rubber hose that's an inch long that goes in between the pump and the pickup tube.
But to get at it, you got to pull the
you got to pull the whole tank. So why not throw a pump in it while you got it apart, right?
Logan, thanks very much for the call. 866-594-4150. Let's talk to Doug. You're on the End of the Hood Show. What can we do for you?
Good morning. I've got a 2000 Ford F-150, and throughout the winter, it was like a second car or whatever, but it discharged the battery when I went out and charged it up, and to move it, it never ever started again. And a friend of mine looked at the codes and stuff, and they just said something about security code. And I replaced everything, from the battery on, wires, plugs, everything, coil, and it's still ever started again. And I'm not understanding I brought it to a shop, and they can't figure it out, and I'm not really sure what's going on with it, to tell you the truth.
So, quick recap for our listeners: 2000 Ford F-150, doesn't drive it a lot, sat through the winter, battery discharged. Upon putting a new battery in it, or just recharging it, what'd you do?
I charged it back, took it out, and I actually did put another battery in it.
And upon
But
doing,
supposedly it lost the code somewhere.
upon doing that,
My understanding.
upon doing that, then now it's showing a security code and won't start.
Oh, yeah, it will not start.
You're going to have to plug it into a Ford programmer and read the security state. It's going to tell it, and that's something only a shop with that specialized software can do. We do that in our own shop. Ford does it, but there are not a lot of shops that would do that. I would say way less than half of all the shops out there, probably more like 10, 15% actually have that ability other than the dealership. But you're going to have to get in there, connect to that computer, read what the security system says, and if it needs to be reprogrammed, reprogram it. It's rare, but occasionally we do see one that loses its security communication when it's had a dead battery for a long time. It's not supposed to do that, but it can as the capacitor is discharged in the computer. They can lose some of that stuff. It's supposed to be a permanent, programmable memory that does not lose it, but it can happen.
And is that a thing that a shop would know when it comes in that they do or don't have the right equipment? I mean, they would know if they do.
It's a question you can ask.
If they scan it and it says security issue, they're going to tell you, yeah, you're going to have to go to the dealer. But don't let them ask the question up front. Don't let them say, it's going to be $100.
Right.
We can't do it. You got to go take it to the dealer. They should be able to tell you that before they work on the car if it's a security issue that they don't have the tools to program it.
Doug, thanks very much for the call. 866-594-4150. For the first time today, we have some open lines. Give us a call. 866-594-4150. You're listening to the Under the Hood Show.
Get under the hood. Call the Motor Medics. 866-594-4150.
866-594-4150 from the Autotempest.com studios. All the cars, one search. This is the Under the Hood Show. If you like us on Facebook, if you follow us on YouTube and subscribe to the YouTube channel, and join the Hoodie Fan Club at underthehoodshow.com, you could win a hoodie.
Like Terry Coolidge from Sterling, Illinois. Congratulations from all of us here at Under the Hood and our friends over at Universal Technical Institute, uti.edu. They are on a mission to get you trained to be a professional automotive technician, not just a mechanic, but a professional automotive technician. So many jobs available right now. So many spots need to be filled that if you want to make good money and be a good trained mechanic with a career you can be proud of and you can stay in for many years, you need a school that can train you, and they've got campuses all over the country. They are the place for you. uti.edu, Universal Technical Institute. And when you're ready to go, CarMax is hiring experienced auto technicians for many of its 200-plus stores nationwide. If you're looking for a job where you can make a great living while working on the cars you love, CarMax is the place for you. Join CarMax and grow your technical expertise and work with state-of-the-art tools and technology. Work on the cars you love. Join CarMax. Apply today at CarMaxAutotech.com.
You have to work on cars you don't love too, though, right? Probably.
I don't know. If you work on cars, I love all cars. Now more than I did.
No way.
I do.
There's got to
really
be
like
cars that come in and you go, ugh.
Today's cars. I think I love all cars.
Okay.
But there are a few from the past. You know, if you brought in like a mid-90s Audi A6 or something, I'd be like, I don't want to work on that thing. You know?
What about a mid-2000s Range Rover?
Let's rephrase that. A well taken care of good technician or good condition car, yeah, I don't mind working on it. But what happens is you get a total crap box, mid-90s A6 with 200,000 miles that nobody's taking care of. It's covered with oil everywhere under the hood, wires frayed.
It's amazing it's made it that far without maintenance.
It's like, why do you want me to work on this? Just crush it. Do the world a favor. Come on. But they're good ones. When Shannon and I see an old, really nice example of a car it's exciting. If we saw an 82 Yugo that was mint, it'd be cool to look at. We see them in car shows sometimes. An old Dodge Omni, an 87, 84 Dodge Omni.
See Yugos in
super
car
nice
shows?
shape. Oh, yeah.
We will.
Occasionally you'll see one.
I haven't.
They're not super exciting, but yeah, you'll see some of that
That would
stuff.
be neat. Let's go to Mississippi and talk to Tony. You're on the End of the Hood Show. What can we do for you?
Good morning, guys. I love your show and appreciate it very much. I've got a 2003 Kia Sedona that presented problem for the first time. My wife pulling up in the carport, coming in for the night, getting ready to go out the next morning, come out, and it would not do anything except spin. I started working on it, checked fuel pressure, and found that the fuel pressure was substantially lower than the 40 or 45 psi that it should have to work. So I assumed it was a fuel problem. Went and never had a fuel pump in it. So I checked the relays, checked the fuses, all those fine. Although I swapped the relays around, the light relays to put a different relay in the fuel pump relay spot. That made no difference. Then I said, well, I'm going to put a fuel pump in it. Relatively easy to do through the access that they provide in the vehicle floor. No problem. Made no change. I could take a brake cleaner or a carburetor cleaner and spray in through the intake area and get the crank and run so that it left out the firing issue and stop spraying. It goes dead. My scanner will not check like TPI of TPS, excuse me.
Sure.
Check the voltage, but now I would see a percentage of opening and closing of the throttle between wide open and closed. And so that sort of left out the throttle position. I checked the wiring harness. All of that stuff looks good. I'm sort of a loss for what to do.
Well, it sounds like you have a fuel delivery problem. One of the things we would do, we'd check the fuel pressure first, and if it's not right, we're going to find out why. We're going to see, do we have a problem with the pump? Do we have a problem with the voltage to the pump? The ground, the power that's not allowing it to spin up like it should and apply that pressure? Do we have a problem with, fuel filter or something in the system that's restricting it, getting fuel up there? Regulators, things like that. We're going to get that pressure where it's supposed to be. And if we find the pressure's where it's supposed to be, then we're going to also check the fuel injector pulse. We're going to unplug one of the injectors, plug them into a Noid light, which is just basically a little tiny LED test light bulb.
Hey, the Avoid the Noids are back on TV commercials.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. See if that light works. You don't want to avoid a Noid light if you're testing an engine. You want to plug it in there, grab the Noid out of the box. They come in pizza boxes now.
Mm-hmm.
And put them in there and fix it. See if you don't have pulse, because if it's not blinking, you've got no injector pulse, and it's never going to fire.
But if he can spray cleaner on it and it'll fire,
then it could have no injector pulse. It could have no fuel pressure. But that's telling you that the engine is able to read the crank position and stuff like that, the RPM.
So when you measure your fuel pressure, you're showing it to be lower. Are you showing like no fuel pressure, like it's not even triggering the pump?
Oh no. With the new pump installed, the pressure is up to about 40, 42 psi. And by the way, I did put a fuel pressure regulator on it when I ordered the pump and filter assembly. It all comes as an assembly. All the filter and stuff was new. And I, by the way, I forgot to mention, I did put a node tester on the injector. That what it does is sort of strange. It will pulse with a strong pulse on that injector for just a little bit, and I say for a little bit, just a matter of seconds, then that sort of pulse sort of fades away, and that's when the engine dies. So it'll crank for just a split second, then it'll die. And like something is in a security system stopping it, but this vehicle does not have a security system.
That's
And my local shop. You made mention a while ago about the testing. Gosh, I can't emphasize the importance of young people going into the mechanic business and getting well trained, because that's the day of shade trees like myself. And those days are past. And it's a great living, because we have 2 shops in town, and both of them hate Kias, and I haven't got it going yet.
Yeah, I can. That makes sense. And you're right. It is very important to get techs trained, because so what if you've got 1,000 shops out there? If they can't work on your car because they don't have techs trained, they do absolutely no good for those situations. But if it comes on just for a second and fires and dies, yes, that's an indication of security. But if you do not have security on your vehicle, if you're positive of that, it may be a problem in the computer. You may have a failing computer. And some of those, we used to sell a lot of Chrysler computers for Jeeps. Do you remember that, Shannon?
Yep.
And we'd sell one to a person who they would interchange to a point. So if you had a car that had no security and you put in a computer with no security, it would work. But if you took a computer out of a vehicle that already had security in it and put in your vehicle, couldn't start it, because there was nothing in there to turn that security off. But if you took your computer out of your car with no security, put it in one with security, it would learn it and it would be active. And now you couldn't put it back in that car again because it'd been turned on once. Same way with tire pressure monitors in the Yukons, like 03, if you had, they're part of the passenger side door switch. If it had none in it, plug it in, that would be fine, no light. But if your car didn't come equipped with it and you put this thing in and it had already been activated, you got a tire light and you're like, but I don't have them. So you may find you've got a computer failing and you may need to replace that computer. That one you should be able to put a used computer in. But again, like these other two, the reason I mentioned them, I'm pretty sure that the Kia, they had them with and without security, depending on the trim level of the vehicle. So you may find that in an 03 Sedona van that it's going to ask with or without security. You definitely have to put a non-security computer in if you have a non-security car. Otherwise, it's not going to work. It's going to take some repair at the shop to work on this thing. You might have to haul it out of town where they've got them.
Tony, thanks very much for the call. Good luck. That sounds like, as he's gone through step by step, there's one more direction you can look. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we want to hear from you. The phone number to reach us, 866-594-4150. We're going to go to Michigan next on the Under the Hood Show.
Prepare to learn something. You're going Under the Hood.
866-594-4150 from the Autotempest.com studios. All the cars, one search. You're listening to the Under the Hood Show. We got an event coming up this week, next week.
And normally we're just buried in the studio, but we're actually going to get outside into the fresh air for hot summer nights out at the WH Lions Fairgrounds. Tuesday the 13th. This just coming up soon here. Tuesday the 13th. En route to the Black Hills Corvette Classic, there is going to be a boatload of Corvettes out at the WH Lions Fairgrounds.
Mm-hmm.
And there's going to be availability for you to come out and eat, drink, not drive the cars after you've drank.
Right.
They're not your cars. You just come and eat and drink, look at the cars, have fun, talk to the people, ask questions. But what we're going to be doing is the Quick 60 event. We're going to see if we can get Chris in there with his race car.
Okay.
I think we can arrange that. But we'll be out there, Russ, myself, and Chris, and we're going to be helping run the event with the Corvette Club. And this is a cash prize. So these people go on a 100-foot from a standing start, 60 feet and got to stop.
Before you get to 100.
Yeah, and it's kind of fun to watch. It's not going to burn up a lot of tires. You're just going to see how technical you can be with control of your car. And it's fun to watch.
Stopping is a major part of it.
Yeah, and there's some special bonuses. If one of the new C8 Corvettes shows up and would get first place, they get an extra $100. They probably need it to pay for the car. And if you can get a time that is faster than the Leasinger Racing sponsored, Summit Racing sponsored cars that come out and do exhibition, another $100. They got first and second place at the National Autocross Pro X class. So they're going to be there putting on demonstration. Those cars are awesome to see run.
So that bonus is probably safe.
Based on what we saw last year, I think so. But there was a couple sleepers out there that did well. But this is next Tuesday, the 13th. The gates open at 4. The Quick 60 is going to start somewhere around 5:30. And that's all out there at the W.H. Lyons Fairgrounds. And so Sioux Falls Corvette Club is involved. They're going to be doing their start out at the Jerry's in the morning. Corvettes in Beersford, and then eventually they're working their way out to the Black Hills for the Corvette Classic.
And we'll be out there.
We'll get your car fired up after the show, Chris. I know it's time for new battery in yours, and we got you a present. We got you a
What did we get him?
We got him a brand new AGM battery.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yesterday, Doug picked up an AGM battery for his van. It was dead too, so we thought you'd get a charge out of that, Chris.
Yeah, we're gonna have you fired up.
Now that you got an AGM battery, you're not going to have to worry about it as much in the winter because it'll hold its charge longer. You'll like it.
I can drive it in the winter now. I'm going to go ahead and
There
just
you go.
keep it out there. Let's talk to June, who's in Michigan. June, you're on the Under the Hood show. What can we do for you?
Oh, hi, guys. You know what? I kind of talked about this last year to you. But you know what? I have an 05 Equinox, and you know, I had never had any problems at all, and I went to get my air conditioner done, and he said it was no good.
Sure.
And I'm like, what do you mean no good? And he goes, well, if I put the air on it, it's going to leak right out. And I'm like, okay, well, I survived last year, but this year, I'm telling you, isn't there any way to, like, put a new one in or get a used one or do anything that I could have air conditioning?
Yes.
Yes, definitely.
We use recycled original equipment components that have come out of a wrecked vehicle often to repair air conditioning systems to save people money. The challenge always is this, though. Regardless if you buy a recycled compressor that comes off another vehicle that's in good operating condition, if it's the compressor that's failed, or if you buy a brand new one from General Motors, or if you buy a remanufactured one from your local parts store, you have to follow the same procedures to put it in. If the system is full of material and the system is contaminated, you sometimes have to replace the air conditioning condenser. And yes, you can buy a recycled one of those also, but we typically go with a new one because they're not that expensive, the condenser. Right. Sometimes you have a problem where the evaporator inside has gotten damaged. Not as likely. Least likely is the part under the dash. But you still have to replace the accumulators and dryers and other pieces if you're rebuilding that system. And that just costs some money. But if it's the compressor that's the biggest expense, 100% you can use a quality recycled part and save some money there. Russ, anything else you'd like to add?
Yeah, for sure. It's like the system works. It's just a big pump. You're pumping refrigerant with that compressor, and it's circulating through the system. And as it goes from high pressure to low pressure, it gets cold. And so it's pretty basic. But it can, when the compressors go bad, the Equinox, we've done a lot of them. Typically, it's a compressor and a condenser and a dryer, and that fixes it. We'll purchase a compressor used from Shannon or from car-part.com. We'll put that in there. We'll put a new condenser in there, I think around $100. But the system repair costs on the last 10 of those we've done in the last 2 years, I would say is going to range anywhere from about $500 to $1,300 on when they're really bad. So you can figure if you can budget between $500 and $1,300 to get your air going, even if you can get through this summer and then make it through the winter, save up and do it in the spring next year, they should be able to get that going and save you some money. And just tell them you want to do it with some recycled parts instead of all brand new. Just save some money on it.
And you're seeing more mechanic shops Now, if you got the money and you can budget it, great. Some people don't have the money. The budget doesn't work out. There's more mechanic places that are having available in-house credit systems that you can use.
Yep.
Now, there again, you don't need another quick sign-up credit in your life, typically.
No.
But they are available in a lot of places. But make sure you look at the terms. And sometimes it's better just to have your own credit card that you use for those emergencies if you don't have the savings, and then just get it paid off over the next 4 or 5 months or 6 months or whatever it takes, 7 months.
Does that help you out there, June?
Yeah, it does. But the basic part, though, that I should do is go to the Chevy dealer first and see what they say.
I would go to an independent repair shop just because cost-wise. Chevy can do a great job on it, but it's going to be really expensive on that vehicle and all new parts. So try an independent garage, and if you don't know where one is, find your local auto parts store and ask them who they're selling parts to. They'll be able to give you
who works on air conditioning.
Yeah. So they'll be able to tell you, oh yeah, Bob's Repaired on the street. They work on them all the time. They do a great job. They're affordable.
Wouldn't it be funny if she had a Bob's Repair right on the street?
Fantastic. June, thanks very much for the call. 866-594-4150. Let's talk to Doug in Texas. You're on the Under the Hood Show. Doug, what can we do for you?
I got two problems.
Okay.
Both Honda Accords. One's a Honda Accord. It's a 2008. And the air conditioning in the morning is real nice and cool, but as soon as it gets hot, it just starts blowing. It won't blow hot air, but it just doesn't blow cool air. And I have the same problem with the 2008 Civic. And it's cool in the morning, and it does the same dang thing that the Honda Accord's doing. It definitely blows almost warm air. As soon as it gets hot, like 90 degrees, and when you start the car up, both of them, I'm jumping between cars here, but let me do the Civic, and then I'll go back to the Accord. The Accord in the morning is pretty cold, and I go to work at 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning, so there's no problem. There's no heat. But when I get off at about 4 in the afternoon, it's in the 90s. And until I get on the highway and get up to, 60s, it starts cooling, but it doesn't blow any cold air like in the morning.
The problem with that might be is that they're both just a little bit low on refrigerant. Not so low that they are not working at all, but just low enough where they'll cool when it's cooler outside. But, as the cars age, they slowly leak, especially over the winter months when it's cooler out. The seals will shrink, they'll leak, and then you need to add a little bit to it. We want to make sure you check between your condenser and your radiator on both cars to make sure they're completely clean and no debris and dust in there. And if they are, one of our partners has a product called AC Avalanche. You can pick it up at pretty much any auto parts store. It comes with a gauge on it. It comes with smart clips on it to tell you when it's properly charged and what the cooling level is inside the vehicle. We used it on our own truck here not too long ago, last month, and it was quick. I needed something just really quick without pulling our machine out because we got a delivery driver. It was so quick that he pulled in, and while he was dropping off engines for repair at our shop, I was able to go out, connect it real quick, read the gauge that came included, add refrigerant to it, and it was fine. And it's been working great now for over a month. So
and we've been hot.
Yeah, it's been in the 90s and humid. Mm-hmm. So that I would check the refrigerant level and try that. That's something you could do yourself.
Airflow and refrigerant level. Airflow first. Make sure you don't have any restrictions.
On both cars.
Make sure there's not a bunch of bugs. Make sure the fins aren't all bent over. Make sure that's getting through there. And you can't always see easily between, so sometimes you got to look from the bottom side.
Cabin air filter? Or
always
not in this case?
Always something to look at. Make sure you got good airflow.
Yep.
But he said he can feel good airflow in the morning.
It's just not the right.
Makes me think that Russ is right on the track.
Doug, thanks very much for the call. 866-594-4150. That'll do it for this hour of the Under the Hood Show. We want to thank, when we talk about batteries, we talk about AGMs because it's what we put in our own vehicles.
Yeah, I've got them in my jet skis, my lawnmower. We're putting one in your car today now. We got one in Doug's van. But the reason we're putting them in is because they last longer, especially in a power sports vehicle where you've got a high discharge rate and then recharge and they sit a lot. They're going to last because a regular flooded battery, the traditional things, you're putting a battery in your lawn. Remember that? Putting a battery in your lawnmower every single summer. You're not going to have to do that with the AGM. So that's why we recommend them and we like them.
Until next time, you can find us at underthehoodshow.com. Thanks for joining us on the Under the Hood Show. Hi, who's this?
Hi, this is Sebastian.
Sebastian, all right, hold on a second. We're going to take your call just like we're on the air. Let's talk to Sebastian. You're on the Under the Hood show. Sebastian, what can we do for you?
Hey, how you guys doing? Just want to say thank you. You guys do a great job with your show.
Well, thanks.
Really enjoy listening. I have a 2010 Honda Civic LX, the 1.8 liter with automatic transmission. Recently, so I got home, stopped the car, and the fan usually runs a little bit after I turn the car off. It stopped running, went inside, came out the next day. The fan was still circling on the engine fan and or I guess front engine fan. It drained my battery completely. I took care of that. I recharged the battery. Drove to work the next day. Everything was running fine. Turned the car off. Fan was still running. I thought, okay, it's going to turn off. I fell for it twice. And then basically ran into the fan continued to run, ran the battery dead, recharged it. So now I've come to the point of unplugging the fans every time I turn my car off, and then plugging them back in before I drive.
Okay, I'm wondering if the fan relay is just the contacts have stuck on them. They've burned together and stuck. There should be a fan relay under the hood in the under the hood fuse relay center. When that thing is running and those fans are on and the car is off, find the relay, pull it out. If you pull it out and you plug it back in and they stay off, but then you activate the fans and you have to pull it out again, it's probably got burnt contacts in there. And I can't remember for sure, but that relay may be the same as the horn relay under there. You might be able to just swap those two and see what happens. And one of the tests would be swap them and then hit the horn. And when the horn honks, if it doesn't stop honking, that's what's going on. Because some of the relays can, once they close, they stick and they stay on. But if you pull the relay out and disconnect the power, they'll release until they're activated again. Relays, not too expensive, between $10 and $25, depending on what type of relay they are. But that could be everything that's causing your issue right there.
And staying on is better than not going on.
Yeah,
right?
and because he's telling me that if he disconnects those fans and shuts the car off and then hooks them back up again, hooks the power back up, and it's off, it sounds more like a relay problem than a computer issue.
Which is what you want. That'd be a lot cheaper than having to diagnose a computer problem.
Yeah, absolutely. Sebastian, thanks very much for the call. 866-594-4150. Let's talk to Mike. You're on the Under the Hood show. Mike, what can we do for you?
Hey, gentlemen, thank you. I want to say you guys have a great show, all kinds of interesting things to pick up, and thank you for sharing your expertise. What I have is a problem, and I don't know, it's not really a problem. I have a twofold question for you. I have a 2004 Buick Park Avenue with about 56,000 miles on it. Working fine, everything's good, but somebody had flagged me or brought it to my attention that there might be some transmission concern with that vehicle, and I guess without doing some preventive maintenance and stuff, of course, the regular things, is there anything I should be concerned about or looking for in the car? Because it runs great. It's a super vehicle, but I just want to make sure transmissions, if they go whacked or whatever, can be a serious expense. So food for thought. So
where did you run across, or have you had this 04 Park Avenue with that low a mileage?
Well, I tell you what, I bought it from a person that had bought it, an older couple, and they had it in the garage, and they actually used it. Well, they passed away, and then I was able to pick the car up for a decent price and a fair price, and I've been driving it for a couple of years here now. But I don't put a lot of miles on it either. I have another vehicle I ride as well, but I do drive the car. Not so much in the wintertime, more in the spring, summer, and fall. I try to keep it so it's nice. It's a pretty pristine car. And the concern I have is that the transmission itself, again, there's not any problems, there's not any issues, but somebody had said, well, you know, those cars you need to relay. I'm thinking, well, that's the first time I've heard about it. So I thought I would ask you and share your expertise.
I would not be worried about the transmission in that car with that low mileage. I would, however, service that transmission and make sure and run some cleaning agent through it with a pressurized flush that would be safe for that car. If the fluid looks like it's in good condition, and when we say that, we mean doesn't smell burned, not super dark, I would definitely flush it and get the valve body cleaned out, get the solenoids cleaned out. It is an electronically shifted transmission. And
Right.
we did see problems with them, but it was usually because they were abused or they were getting lots of miles on them. They would start stretching out the shift lengths, things like that. But if you keep an eye on the maintenance, and it's old enough now, it does make me a little nervous just with some of the solenoids inside. But let's start by doing a flush on it, and I think you're going to get a lot of life out of that transmission and that car.
Mike, thanks very much.
Yes, thank you.
Thanks very much for the call. 866-594-4150. I'm going to do that part again. Mike, thanks very much for the call. Now let's talk to Rich. Rich, you are on the Under the Hood show. Rich, what can we do for you?
Okay, I've got a 2009 Dodge Ram 1500 with a 5.1 Hemi on it. It's got about 85,000 miles, and I know that I have no record of. I'm a third owner of this truck. It's still only got 85,000 miles, but I don't know what kind of service they've done on if they replace fan belts, anything. What I want to do is bring it to you guys and find out, and I want you to go through and do all the things that should happen at the 90,000 mile level, and kind of an idea of what would that cost and how long would it take.
Well, you got to look at it, evaluate it, and get a price. There's no one set price for any kind of things like that. They do have that one set price at the dealership, but a lot of times there's stuff that doesn't even need to be checked that's thrown into that price. It can be crazy amount of money. They might just say a 90,000 mile service is $400 plus parts. And you go, well, what are you checking? And there's a whole list of stuff. We like to just look at them, kind of look at the age of the vehicle, give a general condition, and pick and choose on that vehicle. We're going to be checking all the fluids, evaluating their condition, getting information for what service records you know of for the vehicle. Also, check our Carfax.
Exactly. Right there is, you never know. You can get a lot more information than you used to nowadays on general service that's been done on vehicles.
On Carfax shop, not
Maybe.
collision.
Maybe not, but maybe.
Because as a shop, we have it. Now, if it doesn't say anything, we don't know. But if it says something, then we're guaranteed we know what was done. If it says it had transmission maintenance at 80,000 miles, there's no sense in doing it now. That's just a waste of money if it's been done recently. So we'll check those things and kind of evaluate and get you a price of what it would cost to fix.
And as for how long, it just completely depends on
Yeah,
that
it depends
first
on the
part.
service. If it's just a trans flush, you're an hour and a half or so.
Yeah.
If it's 10 items, it might be all day. You just don't know without actually hands-on looking at it.
Rich, thanks very much for the call. Good luck. All right, that'll do it for the Under the Hood Show stream. We are going to...
Stream's still running.
Stream's still running.
Hi, everybody.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching us and listening to us today and the whole bit.
Now we're not going to be here for... Now I'm going to turn it off.
Here we go.
To think, yeah.
Are you ready? You want to turn
I'm
it off?
not sure. Should we have Yvette sit down?
We could do that. You want to do that?
Yeah. You know what? Why don't we just...
Yeah. Come on in.
We could stream that because it's on...
let's do it.
It's with the stream. It's we're okay.
See, we don't have... My sister's here, and she's from Vanderbrink Auctions, and we're going to do an interview with her. It was planned, but we don't have a fourth camera and microphone is the problem. So
you're going to have to yell. No, don't yell.
You know what? I'm just going to run away, and she can sit here for now as long as she doesn't trip over this. Promise not to trip over our fan cord. Oh, he's going to move that.
No.
Well, you still need a microphone.
Yeah, we got to get you on the microphone.
But with this car auction thing, I can watch the entertainment from over here.
Yeah. Well, and we've got another special guest here. We got Bill Daniels here, or what?
We call him Wild Bill Daniels.
One of the original Killer
Bees
from back in the day. And he's here as a guest to check out.
Yvette's over here getting all flushed. She's like, oh, my goodness, I remember him.
All right, let's have you step out.
But he's here to do a visit.
Yeah.
And so Russ can visit with him.
Oh, there you go.
And we'll
that's perfect.
And we'll talk to Yvette because I know Russ has got to get back to the shop and we got to keep this thing moving. So
you can come over here and take Russ's spot.
Yeah,
all right. Let's talk about.
So this is being streamed live on YouTube right now.
Right now.
So,
all right. So
and,
jump in.
And Instagram and Facebook and other places.
Now appropriate. Let's do it appropriately. And Shannon, we have a guest on the Under the Hood show.
Well, we do. We've got Yvette Vanderbrink here from Vanderbrink Auctions, and Yvette is wearing my dad's racing jacket that she got as a present for Christmas. That was a very emotional moment. They're not seeing it until you start talking. Right? How do we do that so they can see it?
She needs to make some noise.
Yeah, you got to talk.
Hey there. All right. Yes. Yes.
Oh, there it is.
But now, if you talk and
Yes.
then would do a spin around, they can see the racing jacket.
Okay.
There's the feed right there. But when you talk, it activates your mic to break the video go.
So talk and turn around there.
All right. Okay. So yeah, I got this in a 12-pack of Budweiser, and so this is my dad's racing jacket that I got for Christmas. And so, yeah, it's a little chilly out. I thought I'd wear it, and it fits now.
That is an awesome piece. That is probably 35 to 40 years old.
Mom said it was actually from the 60s, so I think it's actually probably almost 40 years old.
That's a cool piece. And that is, if you saw the jacket and then you came out to Nordstrom's 2.0 and saw the Ford tractor in the lobby, they're like two peas in a pod.
That's right. If you remember Huset's, which is now open again, and in the good old days when they had all the white outfits, and then a lot of the guys after they were in so many years, then they got the red jackets.
We are going to be going back and having a Nordstrom's night at Huset's coming up on Saturday the 23rd, and this is the first I've announced it. I don't know how many people are still streaming in right now, but we are going to do something that hasn't been done forever. We're going to do a Frisbee toss that we did a number of years ago, with a bunch of Frisbees, and we're going to have prizes on the backside of them.
That's cool.
And then also every person that comes in thinking of our clean and modern facility is going to get a Nordstrom's shop rag.
Oh, that's cool.
And so
have you
is that July 23rd?
Saturday, July 23rd.
Have you considered
Friday.
the higher
Saturday? It was
catch
Sunday.
fence?
I got to get it's Sunday night.
The 25th.
The 25th. Thank you.
Have you guys accounted for the higher catch fence than there was back the last time you did the
We're just going to
Frisbee
throw them in the crowd.
test? Okay. All right. Just checking.
So it'll be a good night. We're happy to see the Houston Speedway name back, and seeing Yvette wearing that jacket made me think of what's coming up. But we're here today to talk about Vanderbrink Auctions and her crazy summer she's got going on. We're going to spend a few minutes with Yvette here. She's been all over the globe again and traveling like crazy. I know she just picked up a brand new auction trailer that's beautiful, ready to bring to the next event. It's shiny black again.
Yes, it's shiny again.
And Yvette is excited. I went down to her Trans Am Horde auction in Kansas, and she knocked that one out of the park. The cars were bringing good money. There was some bargains for people that knew what they were buying, but yet the sellers were extremely excited to see what happened with this family collection. Yvette and her team just did a great job. The people there, you can go back and see pictures that I posted on my personal Facebook. Just crazy, the number of people that were there. Her sales have been doing great. What do we got coming up here? What's the next thing on the agenda, Yvette?
Well, the reason why I know the date of July 25th is July 24th. We're going to be down by Okoboji, Iowa.
Okay.
So you can go swimming, fishing, and come to an auction at the same time. But anyway, it's Jack Slaymaker. And if you've heard the name Slaymaker before, it's because him and Rigor Mortis Racing hold the...
Sounds stiff.
It is. It is. They hold the land speed record in a blown V8 Ford coupe.
Okay.
And 152.494 miles an hour in a 34 Ford.
Did you just show them your tattoo on your ankle and get the sale?
No, I didn't.
Have you noticed her tattoo on her ankle, Chris? Oh.
I have a pink V8 from a 1932 Ford.
Okay.
Yes.
That sealed the deal. Here, look at this. I'm going to put my leg up. Here it is.
Yeah, we're not going to do that, But no, we have vintage hot rods, and one of them was even featured on a cover of Rodder's Journal, and hundreds of parts and memorabilia, some really weird hood ornaments. So that's July 24th.
So you can go to that sale in person if you're from this region, close drive to Okoboji. If you're not, come from wherever you are.
That's right.
But all the sales, the vehicles and the premier items are typically on proxy bid.
Online, yes, through our catalog on the website. And you can register through the catalog and also bid through that. And that's at vanderbrinkauctions.com.
Because I know the sale I was at down in Kansas, I watched that and just as an observer, I thought I'd maybe buy something, but I was looking for a bargain, and there was no bargains for what I looked at. But there was people that brought those home that were extremely excited about what they bought. But the mix of people buying on site and people that were buying online was pretty even. We saw, and it confuses some people because you'll have Kara over there calling out the proxy bid because they're bidding live at the same time the people there are bidding live, and it confuses people sometimes. But when they got done, they always announce, hey, this is where this car is going. This is who bought it, from what state. And we were seeing Michigan, and then you saw Nevada that was on site.
Yep.
And then you saw Kansas that was there. And,
Yep.
it's just kind of crazy seeing how and who buys what, just being a spectator at these sales.
We've been doing online auctions since 2004, one of the first in the Midwest in this area. And back then it was less than 25% sold online, but it increases your prices by 38% opposed to not having online.
Now, some buyers get crabby about that, but get over it. I mean, this is the idea of an auction, is for the seller to get what they can for the vehicles. Of course, you want them to quit bidding sooner, and you want them to not talk about it, or not lift the hood, or not feature the fact that it's got 3 deuces on it.
Right.
But that's just the reality of where we're at nowadays.
Well, the other thing is I'm not working for the buyers. I'm working for the seller. And so it's my job to make sure that everybody there has to rip the back seat out to get change for gas to go home. That's my job.
Don't do that.
Yeah. I don't think you can really do that anymore, can you?
We still do it.
Oh, okay. But we sell now about 25 to 30% online. And last year with COVID changed everything in the auction business.
I bet.
And before last year, about 65% of auctioneers were online-only auctions. And now it's almost 80% of auctioneers in the United States are online only. And live auctions or simulcast auctions, there aren't as many of them as there used to be. And in fact, they're doing land auctions online only, mostly now, or a virtual simulcast.
They're not standing out in the middle of the field when it's 20 below.
No. And I love doing that. And I always think that for some aspects, you need to see, touch, smell, and envision yourself already in that space. And you have a tendency to get more money. But that doesn't always work for everything. There are places for online only, simulcast, and live. And you have to look at the situation. So we had quite a few online only auctions. And it was when a family had a location that didn't allow us to have people there.
Sure.
Or they didn't. I had one lady, she didn't want nobody on her farm. And so that worked out really well for her. And we have a preview time. People can come and look. And then they go home and bid in the comfort of their home, their car, their phone, the secret of their garage so their wife doesn't know. That has happened. And then they win the bid. And then they go, how am I going to explain this? I said, it's called go to the diamond store on your way home.
They may not have any money left.
Yeah, that's true. But, it's a wide variety of what's out there.
So what else is coming up? We got Okoboji in July here on the 24th.
And the thing, real quick, I'm looking at the catalog right now, and you can go bid right now.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's pretty, that auction is pretty great because there's a lot of collectible stuff. There's a lot of parts, a couple dozen steering wheels.
55 of them.
Oh, well, there you go.
That's more than a couple
That's more
dozen,
than a couple dozen. Just lots of parts and lots of collectible stuff too. Coca-Cola stuff and Budweiser. I mean, there's other things in there that are on there in addition to the cars, which are amazing. But I'm at like the 6th page before you get to the cars.
That's right. There's about 300 lots listed on that one, and then, I tell you, August
and that'll all sell.
That'll all sell. It's no reserve.
No reserve.
Yep. And then August 14th, we're going to Vermont.
Okay.
Have you ever been to Vermont before this?
No. And I did learn that 600,000 people that's a population of Vermont.
Okay.
That's it. And it's really, nobody drives, I don't think, over 50 miles an hour. If you do, let me know.
Well, they're going to overshoot the boundary.
I tell you what, it's crazy.
The border, I mean.
Yeah. But we have, 2 years ago I was there, and with COVID we couldn't have it because the borders were closed. But we are selling an Indian and Harley Davidson motorcycle horde.
Okay.
And we have 1947 and earlier Indian and Harley Davidson motorcycles, memorabilia, parts, collector cars, antique tractors, a chainsaw collection.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And that's going to be at the Vermont State Fairgrounds August 14th. I mean, this lady didn't even know, it's on YouTube and on my website, that there were 2 Indian scouts hidden under her house.
Oh, wow.
And
I watched the video when you unearthed one of those.
Yeah, and we pulled them out from under the house. It's pretty crazy.
And you can go see all that, by the way, at vanderbrinkauctions.com.
And there's 53 frames and bikes. They go back as early as 19 18 Harley is what's in there. It's just crazy. NOS parts, dealer posters for 1945 Scouts. It's just nuts.
Isn't there one that looks like it's a fair carnival?
Yes. It's. I tell you what, you know, you've got a national audience.
Yes.
And this is something that I learned that we don't do in the Midwest, except on semis and bull racks. But it's with a million lights. But it is called a Coney Island MC Cruiser. And it's a 1976 Harley Davidson FLH. And it must have 700 lights on it. And it has a sidecar, and it's entombed in lights. And what they
that was
did,
before LEDs, Chris.
Yes.
There's
And
a lot of amp draw going on there.
Yeah, and I showed it to my husband, and all he goes is, "Oh my God, I don't want to fix that."
Yeah.
But
they're like Christmas lights. They're all in series.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
But they used to cruise Coney Island with these, and they did it to scooters and mopeds, and it was how many lights and doodads that you had on it. And there's actually a Facebook page for these kind of bikes. It's pretty interesting.
I'm looking at that auction right now, and how you decided to call it that is interesting because there's also race cars on there and a DeLorean.
I know.
I mean,
in a chicken house. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
a DeLorean in a chicken house.
Yes, there was a DeLorean in a chicken house, and the chickens had just been removed when I was there. They were standing on it.
Yeah, this auction is. I'm not even to the motorcycles yet, and I'm already. It's in it.
You could be a rodeo going to her sales, couldn't you, Chris?
For sure.
Just going to watch.
Yep. Absolutely.
But we have one sale that's September 18th after my daughter gets married.
Yeah,
September 11th.
First Nordstrom grandchild getting married.
Yep.
Could be a party.
Possibly, I don't know, maybe because her fiance is a hockey player and there's a bunch of Canadians coming. Could be wild. I don't know.
I don't know.
But anyway, September 18th, we're going to be up by Bowman, North Dakota. Shannon, no cell phone on the ranch.
So,
no cell phone.
How are you pulling this one off?
They have fiber optic internet at the house. When the Bakken came in, all those farmers up there got fiber optic.
Okay.
And so we're going to be hooking 300 feet of Cat 6 cable to a port on the outside of their house and running it to the trailer, and then using Nordstrom's walkie-talkies. Yeah, Carol, we got $400 on that side right there. And the girls, I'm sure, are just going to be thrilled.
So the bidding's going to go a little slower, maybe.
No,
or
actually,
you got it all nailed down.
We got her nailed down. We've actually done this before by Edgemont, South Dakota on one, where Caitlin was bidding on the line in John Crabtree's trailer house with a raccoon in the living room.
Oh my God.
And so we've been through this before. We can make every auction work. And that's this gentleman is amazing. He's 80-some years old, and it's fully restored. Dearborn are winning cars, Fords, and hot rod bodies. 33 Fords, 32 Fords, 34 Fords, 33 three-window, and signs, amazing signs. And then October 2nd, right now, is Mrs. Menard, Larry Menard's collection.
Like Menards?
Yep, and you're not going to save 11%.
You're not going to save big money?
No,
Like you can't send in for a rebate?
No bag sale of 11%. But,
Bring your bucket?
Yeah, but she has Tri-5s, Corvettes, 35 Fords, really amazing, plus probably a couple 300 signs. Amazing stuff, and that'll be going up this week.
I'm at the website. I haven't been listening. I'm just looking at the
So
website right now.
what you need to do, if you're listening right now, and we'll get this out on YouTube, go to vanderbrinkauctions.com and check out everything. Everything we just talked about was a glance over, a flyover of a crazy schedule that's up for the summer for Vanderbrink Auctions. So go to vanderbrinkauctions.com. Get ready to be a buyer. And if you're out there listening and you have a collection that you want to sell, nobody better to sell your collection for you because they're going to work hard for you. This is all about getting the best for the seller, giving the best presentation. And what Yvette really does well at is going where something is at, learning the story, and getting a chance to not only sell the merchandise, but tell the story for the family. Because these stories for these families are just as important as the vehicles themselves. You can get a little emotional even thinking about it because these are people that have given their lives as a passion to whatever they've saved.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, sometimes it's an estate, sometimes they're alive, and they're there to help see it happen. but which is actually kind of more fun.
I think it's better because then they can tell the story to the buyer.
So if you're in a situation where you've saved something and you're not quite sure what's going to happen, maybe you're not sure if your family completely appreciates what you've done, it's a chance to have a party with your stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, and that's the other thing is we want to encourage people to get into the hobby. And I talked to Pontiac Historical Society, and they're seeing a resurgence in some new members into the hobby, new younger people, which is good. But the most important thing that we can need to do is tell the stories.
Yep.
Tell the stories because people buy what they remember, they buy what they're associated with, and you buy the memory. And I hate to say it, but Fast and Furious has brought a lot of people to the hobby and some of the shows on TV, and brought that back. But we've seen a drop off in some of the Model Ts, some of the other stuff, and it's because generations are passing, and we don't want to lose those stories, and it's what you grow up with. So it's very important to take your kids to a car show. Drag them over and show them at something, you know. I remember sneaking in the corn crib and seeing the 37 Chevy pickup over at Grandpa Johnson's.
I was always, we had to go take a look at it.
Yeah, or Dad's 57s even.
Well, Chris just recently told me, he said, he goes, hey, you should really get your mom and dad up here and sit them down in front of these microphones and just start letting them tell the story.
Absolutely.
And get it recorded and get it down on video.
Do you remember being at the salvage yard? We were sitting in the 64 waiting. Dad was buying something, and that battery exploded in that guy's face.
I remember a lot of that stuff, but not as well as you do. Your memory is crazy.
When Susie was revolting and Mom.
Well, we could go on and on here, but we got to wrap this up. VanderbrinkAuctions.com. With us today is Yvette Vanderbrink. She is my oldest sister. I'm the baby of the family. And Yvette has got a great business going. Her and her team go all over the country putting these sales out. She used to be a phlebotomist at a lab. For 17 years, she drew blood.
20.
Over 20. So she's now she's just drawing blood in a different way. She's taking it out of your wallet when you have to buy the stuff for the sales that she does.
Well, and when you go to VanderbrinkAuctions.com on the stuff that's coming up, the closer stuff, it's all, some of it you can bid on right now, and there's memorabilia. You might go find something that is not part of the big auction part, you know, and I was just looking there. There's some great things on there that you can bid on right now.
So VanderbrinkAuctions.com. VanderbrinkAuctions.com. Lots of resources. They're here to help you. Glad to have you in studio today. We thought we were calling you, but this worked out just fine.
Perfectly, yeah. Yvette, thanks a lot for coming in.
You said you had video. You think I'm going to stay home? Our dad was a carny.
I know. We know this. We're going to get an extra microphone here, but it's not done yet. Russ is on a summer vacation. He built this whole studio by hand.
Wow.
He needs a break, so we're just enjoying what we got right now.
VanderbrinkAuctions.com. Yvette, thanks for coming in.
You bet. It's raining. It's good.
That is good.